Welcome back to another episode of Innovation Alley. We're your hosts. I'm TowelManPurple.
I'm Bjorn.
And what we're going to do today is go over some Simba and Rockstar decks. We have our own take for both of them and different color combinations, of course. But before we get into that, as always, I'd like to mention please go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down below. Like, and make sure to leave a comment to get entered into the giveaway that we do at the end of every month. Okay? Now, let's take a brief moment and let Bjorn make his statement.
Yeah, so every Tuesday and every Friday we upload new episodes of Innovation Alley. So what are you waiting for? Just subscribe, check back.
Stay up to date on this content, guys. We're trying to bring you the best week in and week out. All right? So, today, I am bringing with you Amber Emerald Pirates. But not just Pirates. It also has Rockstar Stitch and Simba. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
I was gonna say, there's not that many pirates, are there?
No, so we have, on the pirate spectrum, we'll go over the line. We have Piglet.
Yeah, sure.
We have Captain Hook, which this is one of the new cards. 3 cost, 1/4.
Very cool.
It quests for 2. While the character is exerted, opposing pirates can't quest.
Yep.
Also, when this character is challenged, you draw a card. So it definitely is allowing you to net some resources. Then we have Donald Duck, which against like a Ruby Sapphire deck would be a huge follow-up to a Piglet.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, because they both will end up questing for 3, which is pretty sick.
That's
All right.
nasty.
It's a 2/3 for 3, quest for 1, but if there's a captain in play, it will quest for 3.
Yeah, and Captain Hook is of course a captain, so it's either Piglet or Captain Hook then that can give him that lore.
Yes. This is true.
Awesome.
Then, the next pirate, Daisy Duck.
She's also a captain.
She is also a captain, and she says she's a 4 cost, quest for 2, 3/3. Whenever one of your pirates quest at a location, draw a card.
That's
So,
pretty good.
what
Do you
would
have
that
some locations then?
insinuate?
You have some locations. It can't be a gosh darn TowelManPurple deck without locations. It's just not possible for this man
So, we
to
have
make it the location.
Hidden Cove, number 1.
Of course, it's great.
Card is really good. And the other one is Rapunzel's Tower.
Yeah. And I have not seen this card being played at all.
I love it.
It's very similar to Hidden Cove, isn't it?
It is. It costs 1 more to play. However, it costs the same to attach yourself to the location.
Yeah.
And instead of giving a +1/+1, it gives a +3 to the willpower, and the location's willpower is an 8 instead of a 6.
Ooh. All right. So
So
seems
we
like
do
a better
have,
Hidden Cove, honestly.
yeah. So we have a lot of reach with that. Easy for them to get themselves there and start questing and letting us net cards if we have Daisy Duck. So something that's really optimal for the list. Then we'll
Okay.
start at the top for the cards we haven't gone over with
Yeah.
Daisy Duck herself.
Of course.
The 1-drop, our Goblin Guide of the game. Okay, love it. Quest for 2.
No Amber
aggressive.
deck is complete without Daisy. Nope.
All right. Then we have Lilo, his best partner, Stitch. Right?
Yeah.
1-drop, 2/2. Just regular old vanilla. And then we have Clarabelle. Now, Clarabelle is there as another 1-drop slot and also for potential pesky items to get rid of them, just to get it out the way.
Yeah, and I assume both Stitch and Clarabelle are mostly there because they can shift.
So, yes. With Clarabelle being here, it does present the threat of us potentially having a larger Clarabelle, which would make them want to rid of this. But in this build, we do not play the larger Clarabelle.
Oh, that's very sneaky.
And then,
You're gonna think you do.
yes, and that's kind of like where we want to be. It's off-putting.
Yeah.
Then we have Simba to protect our 1-drops,
Sure.
allowing us to quest early.
Very
But
good.
Simba is our other shift line.
He can shift into other Simba. Yep. That's great.
Then some more new cards with Go-Go Tamago.
Oh, I love this card.
2 cost, 2 evasive, quest for 1. But when it comes into play, it has a kicker. You can pay an additional 2, and you can choose an opponent's character that is damaged and gain that much lore. Now,
Yeah, so if my opponent has like a Maui with 4 damage on it, I could just gain 4 lore from nowhere.
yes, that's the
It-
beauty of it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of
It's-
it.
it's-
Being able to have a card that says gain
Wow.
X lore in green,
Yep,
that takes the cake for me. I love it.
that's very good. That's better than a goat.
Then we have 2-drop 6/6 Mr. Little Trickster Stitch. He's a 1/3 for 2, quest for 1, and it has fire breathing, so you can pay
Yeah.
1 and give it +1
You-
attack. As
Yeah,
many
you
times
love
as you
this
like.
guy. You showed him in the last video as well.
Yes,
And I
did.
agree, it's a very good card, right?
Yeah, so it's quite funny. Yesterday in testing, I was actually able to kill a big Cinderella with this Stitch.
Wow.
So I don't know what to say more than that, but this guy is bonkers.
Very much.
Love him. And
Very high
he
potential.
also helps shift for this Stitch, which is
Oh, yeah, of
probably
course.
something
Another-
that is not thought about, right? And then the last
Yeah.
card that we have yet to go over, Ursula.
Is of course Ursula.
Something that can
Deceiver.
protect us. Yeah.
Just great.
Overall,
card.
have been testing with the deck. Love its performance. Doing fairly well.
Yeah, I see like it's doing a lot of things. Like it has location, it has the pirate thing going on, it has the rockstar thing going on, and there's so much. Like, can your opponent really stop everything going on?
It's really difficult. It is really difficult for them to
Yeah.
do that. So go ahead, give it a spin. Let us know what you think. And I will say to move on
My
from
deck.
that, let's see what you got, Bjorn.
My deck. So I went a little bit more all in on the whole rockstar thing, because when I think about Stitch Rockstar, especially combined with the new Simba, I think about Pride Lands.
Ooh.
That's my one and only location.
Wait, so you're playing locations?
Mm-hmm. And one that you're not playing. You completely overlooked this one. So it's like the Rapunzel's Tower, right? If you
I think
if
so.
you move something there, it gets, instead of +3 willpower, it gets +2 willpower. It costs more to move there. However, if you have a prince or king character here, you pay 1 ink less to play character.
Yes.
So I think that is absolutely absurd, because a lot of our things cost 1 or 2, meaning they instead cost 0 or 1. And having a 0 cost character with Rockstar is just crazy, because that's like,
Explosive,
technically-
some would say.
Yeah, it's almost infinite card draw, right? Pay 0 to play something.
Yeah.
And in order to achieve that, I do of course have Simba. So those are the princes that will be in the Pride Lands. Just like you, I have the 2-cost bodyguard Simba,
Yep.
but I also have this 1-cost Steel Simba, which I think is a very good card. When you
For
play this
sure.
character, you may draw a card and choose and discard a card. So you may just notice that we have a lot of uninkables in the deck, which is fine, because they're low cost, or well, Simba costs 5, but he can be shifted for 3. But in case we just have too many uninkables, we can just play that Simba and then draw a card and discard an uninkable. So that way we get more ink in our hand.
Yep. So just to mention with that, I do see 4, 8, 12, 16, 24, 24 uninkables,
Yep.
but 8 of them are 1-drops, 12 of them are 2-drops,
Yes.
and 4 of
and
them are 3-drops because you have 8 shift lines, so you are
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
shifting this guy.
And sure, Doc's an uninkable, but he draws you cards. A Lantern is uninkable, sure, but it also lets you play things for cheaper, so it's almost like an ink.
Right, it's ramp.
And Pride is the same. Like, it actually lets you play things for cheaper, so you might not have to ink if you play the Pride Lands. So it's a little bit of a risky list, of course it is. You have to mulligan carefully, make sure you don't dig too many uninkables in the starting hand, but I think it can be very, very explosive. So
yeah,
the
I
only
agree.
other card draw I have is Doc. You had your pirate thing going on. You can draw cards with that, but I have Doc, and I think it's a great card in any aggressive list.
Doc is
When
really
you play
good.
him, you discard your hand and draw 2 cards. And of course, if you have an empty hand, you don't need to discard anything. Draw
Right.
2 cards. And he also costs 2, so you can use him with the Rockstar. And the way you can do it, how the rules work, is when you play him, you can activate Rockstar's effect, and you get to choose which one goes first, right? So you're first going to choose to discard your empty hand and draw 2 cards, and then you can choose to activate Rockstar's effect and draw an additional card after you've already discarded. Just make sure that you do it in the correct order.
Yeah, order of operations matters.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
Yeah, and in order to get out Rockstar cheaper, I have Pluto and Lantern. This makes us able to play Rockstar on turn 3,
Yeah.
right? Because you have, again, you have either Pluto or Lantern will make it so that instead of paying shift 4, you simply pay shift 3 instead. And we have, a 1 cost stitch and a 2 cost stitch. So 8, just like you, I have 8 small stitch targets, which means that we are actually very likely, if we mulligan accordingly, to be able to do a turn 3 Rockstar.
Yes.
And that's also why we don't have cards like Doc and Gaston. I usually love them in Amber decks, but they can't help us get out Rockstar earlier since they cost 3. And so we need to have our cost reduction appear before turn 3.
Yeah.
Which is
Not
where
only
Pluto
that, they also
and Lantern
don't
come in.
trigger the Rockstar either.
Yeah, Pluto does. Like, Pluto has an additional use case in that, yeah, sure, if you draw him later on in the game, it feels a bit awkward, except you could just play him and use Rockstar's ability to draw a new card. So, he's not bad in that case. And if you ever draw another Lantern, that usually isn't bad for you either. Because right now, item removal is not very common. So your characters might disappear. They might get struck by all sorts of challenges or
Right.
actions or what have you, but those lanterns will stay and they will just keep giving you value every single turn.
Yeah, there's not many items in the format and not much item removal either. So it makes sense.
Yeah. So just the small stuff we have with Rockstar is, except for the 1 cost, Simba, Stitch, and Pluto we already went over, but the Daisy Duck, just like you, I just think it's an amazing card.
Yep.
Absolutely good. And honestly, if you play her and exert her with Rockstar, she might survive because she has 4 willpower, so that's great.
Yeah.
Uh,
Super
I
stable.
also have the 2 cost Piglet, 2 cost Simba, 2 cost Stitch, just like you. But I have a card that I'm surprised you don't. I have the Lilo Surfer.
She's
Lilo
new.
Escape Artist. At the start of your turn, if this card is in your discard, you may play her, and she enters play exerted. And that is an extremely strong ability.
Yes,
I
for sure.
really, really like that. Let's say, like, after a Grab Your Swords or after a Be Prepared, you can just get her back. She will never not be able to come back unless they get rid of your discard pile somehow or
Or
put
banish her to the
her
inkwell.
in your inkwell. Exactly. And of course, sadly, you can't trigger Rockstar with that. Like, when she comes in exerted, you don't get to use Rockstar's ability. However, if you play her normally from hand, you can, of course, do that. And then, if she gets challenged and banished, it's not that big of a deal since, she could just come back later.
Right. It's a never ending story.
Yeah, so that's why I think she's great for that reason. And a 2 cost, we have Smee. Of course, I think he's potentially the best 2 cost in the entire game. The 3/3, the quest for 2, is just insane. Sure, he
He's really
damages
good.
himself, but it doesn't matter that much.
No, he's too good.
Honestly. Yeah, and the Doc, of course, I said earlier, and we have, for the top end, just like you, the Simba and the Rockstar. I have a little bit of a spicy card right there.
You sure do.
The 4-cost Philoctetes. And I don't think I pronounced that right, but that doesn't matter. Your hero characters gain Challenger +1, which is not super relevant because I don't think we will be challenging a lot with this deck. However,
This is true.
whenever you play a hero character, gain 1 lore.
Huge.
So it can gain a
Huge.
lot of lore out of nowhere, especially if you have, a Pride land in play with the activated abilities. You play things for super cheap, and then, you and exert with Rockstar and just draw new cards and just play like 5 heroes in a turn. So which are heroes? Which cards are heroes? If we go from the top.
So you have 4, 8,
Stitch.
12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32 heroes.
Yeah. So that's half the deck heroes.
Yep. All the Stitches, all
yep.
the Simbas, Lilo, Piglet, and that would be them.
Yeah, like half the cards you play are gonna be heroes, so half the cards you play are gonna gain you a lore as long as you have a fill out. I mean, imagine if you have 2 out. You get 2 lore every time you play something. So it's really powerful deck that can go off. Sure, Steel or Ruby can be troublesome because they remove stuff, but, we have that Lilo to always bring back in those cases.
I love it.
Yeah, and I liked your list too. I think we had different but still similar approaches to this whole thing.
Yeah, we
But
have
we both
have
agreed.
ways to steal lore.
Yeah.
You have Phil. I had Go-Go, right?
Yeah.
Like different approaches for lore. We had additional card draw. You had Doc, and I had Daisy and potentially the captain.
Yeah, of course. And what we can both agree on is, of course, that the 5-cost Simba is so powerful.
Oh my god.
It's shift 3, and at the end of your turn, if this character is exerted, you may ready your other characters, all other characters. So this is super, super duper great with a Rockstar, right?
Yes.
Because you're gonna play so many characters, and they're gonna get exerted, and then this Simba just puts them right back up. You can even quest with your Rockstar, and that gets readied back up, because that's something you usually don't do. You usually don't quest with Rockstar, because you don't want it to get challenged and banished, but
Right.
with Simba, you can. So
Yes.
it's super, super duper awesome.
Your draw engine is protected.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's by the Cub or by the Pride Protector.
Absolutely. So, yeah, if you like these deck lists, like, please let us know in the comments. Like, we read and respond to all comments. Just let us know what you thought if you've been playing something similar. If you want to try this out, if you have tried this out, like, come back in a few days when you've played this at your league and tell us how it went.
Yeah. Or even if you feel like maybe there's a card that we overlooked for either one of these lists, shout that out in the comments too. We love all input and feedback and any different ideas that we can have as another approach.
Yep.
We thank each and every one of you for coming out to these videos. We simply adore this community. You are all awesome. Thank you so much. This has been another video of Innovation Alley. Until the next one, you guys have a great rest of your day.